Hello, you spooktacular people. It's our second ever PSA, or as we like to call it, Positively Scary Arachnid. We had a few business items that we wanted to touch on, and it was kind of lengthy. We didn't want to clutter up the next episode with it, so we made this bonus little PSA. And if you stay tuned, I promise we'll share some fun EMT ghost stories at the end. First off, we wanted to let y'all know about some changes over at Patreon. The way Patreon has always worked is that if people sign up to do a donation, they don't get charged until the first of the following month. So sometimes people have had a couple of weeks to be able to check out the material before they get charged. People who donate to us via PayPal get charged right then, and we wanted to kind of even things up, and Patreon has now offered us the option to be able to charge up front, is what they call it. I think it's just once people subscribe, they pay. I don't know why that's up front, but because you get the material either way. But we wanted to make it so that both PayPal and Patreon were exactly the same. I know other creators on Patreon had been asking for this because some of them have people come in, grab all the material, and then take off without leaving any kind of a donation. We haven't had that issue, but we just wanted to even things out. So just be aware that if you have already been donating at Patreon, nothing's going to change for you unless you want to change your donation and increase it. Then it will charge you the increase right then. So let's say you're giving us $5 a month and you want to up it to $10. It'll charge you $5 right then, and then the first of the month, you'll start getting charged the $10. And for those of you who are going to become new executive producers, just be aware that at Patreon, you'll be charged right then, and then it's just a locked-in thing. It's always the first of the month. So let's say you decide to donate to us on the 25th of August. You'll be charged the $5 or whatever at that time, and then on the 1st, you'll get charged again for the next month. So that you're just aware that it's not going to be like the 25th of every month. It's going to hit you at the first of the month after that. We do thank all of you executive producers that we have out there. You have gotten us almost to our very next goal, which is $600 a month. We're very transparent about where we are. Patreon only shows us where we're at on the Patreon site, so people aren't aware of what's going on via PayPal, or my parents donate to the show and they just give us the cash. So if you want to know exactly where we are when it comes to our goals, under the Support the Show tab on that page, I try to keep it updated. It has the gross amount that's being donated to us, and that's before PayPal and Patreon and the credit cards all take their money out. So if you want to know where we're at. But at that next goal, if we hit $600, we will start adding an episode every month. So instead of the 6 episodes that you're getting, you're going to get 7 episodes in the free feed. So we're almost there. Very excited about that because we have so much material to bring you guys. Don't forget that our Flash Fiction contest ends this month, August 27th, 2016. Basically, Flash Fiction means it's a short story. Ours is under 1,000 words. Try to keep it under that. And keep it along the lines of a scary, creepy science fiction type story, something that would go with the podcast. We will have a first, second, and third place winner, and we will be sharing those on our 2nd year anniversary, which will be October 1st, 2016. You guys have probably noticed that our research crew has been changing. We've been adding people, subtracting people. And what I've come to find in our experience over the last year of having a research crew is, and I think as people find out, the research takes a lot of time and it's a lot of hard work. And so I think what we're going to end up doing is folding up the research crew and just having it where if you guys, and we found this to be the case a lot of you will suggest a location and then you'll say, hey, I'd love to help you out with the research if you'd like me to. And even some of you have said, oh yeah, I'd like to come on air and talk about it. So in the future, if you have a suggestion for us, let us know as well if you would like to help contribute to the research or if you would like to be on air. Maybe you've had a haunting experience there that you want to share. Let us know that in the email. And if you could do that all at once, it would save us some time with me having to go back and forth and ask you all those questions. So we just know up front, yes, I'd love to help with the research. Yes, I don't mind being on air. And we'll get that all set up. I will let you know that if you're willing to come on air and you have a haunting experience to share or you want to help share the research, it will get you bumped up in the calendar just because I'm getting older, my memory's getting worse, and it's easier for us to just get it done right away so that I don't forget that we're going to do that. Plus, you don't know where you're going to be in 4 or 5 months, so I try to do those a little bit quicker. We do have the History Goes Bump lanyards available up on the website. What you do is hover over the HGB Emporium tab, and you'll see a little drop down that says Get the Lanyard. You click on that. and it'll take you to a page where you can order it. It's separate from our Spreadshirt shop because it's something that we've had made here locally. So that's completely separate from the Emporium, but that's where you can find it. And right now they're running $8. It's $5 for the lanyards, $3 for shipping and handling. And finally, another way that we would like to get you guys involved if you're creative and have the means with audio and such. But as you guys know, during the show, we run little fun bumpers, and all of those I've gotten via paying voiceover actors and actresses to do those for us. Well, as we get up to doing more and more shows, it gets a little tedious to have the exact same bumpers over and over. I'm sure you guys get bored of hearing the same ones over and over. But it also costs us money every time we want to get bumpers made up. So I thought something that would work out, that wouldn't cost us any money, and would be able to get you guys more involved in the show, is to put it out to you if you would like to make up. We try to limit it to 30 seconds at the most, and just make up a little bumper that you think would be fun to put on the show. Like the guy who says, pull the covers up tight. That isn't the air conditioning you're feeling. I mean, that's all stuff I just made up and asked somebody to say for me. So have at it. Make a bumper, send it in to us. Even if it's not a totally clean audio, I'll try to clean it up or what have you. But we thought that'd be kind of a fun way for you guys to get involved and give us a little bit more variety when it comes to the bumper. So if you would like to partake in that, please do it in an MP3 format. That's the easiest way for us. If you have to do it in a WAV, that's fine. I can change it over to an MP3. And then just email it to us at historygoesbump@gmail.com. Okay, I think that takes care of all of the business stuff. So now the fun stuff. We shared with you a personal experience from one of our listeners who is an EMT. And I got to thinking, there's probably a lot of EMTs out there who have stories. So we'd like to share a few of those with you. First one up. Will I go to heaven? I had a young woman in full liver failure. She was orange in color and she was still conscious. She asked me what I thought it would be like to die. I told her I didn't know, but I hoped it wouldn't be painful. She then asked me if I thought I'd go to heaven. I told her that I believed I would. She asked me if I thought she would go to heaven, and I told her I wasn't able to answer that question. She then told me, I'm going to go to heaven, and I know it. And I asked her how she knew that, and she told me something that I will never, ever forget. She told me, I know I am because that man over there told me so. I asked, what man? And she said, the man sitting on the end of the bench. I asked her what he looked like, and she said, he looks just like the Jesus on the windows of my church. Well, to tell you, I was pretty well affected by that statement. She then went on to say, and he says that you're going to go to heaven too. We then prayed, and I will never forget that interaction between the two of us. About a week later, she passed away. I hope she made it to heaven. This next one, together forever. I've had a couple of weird calls. One was a major head-on car accident many, many years ago, and at the time, we played medical examiner as well. We had two DOA, a husband and a spouse, that were killed instantly in a head-on collision. They had a 12-year-old daughter that was in between them, and they actually took the impact, saving her life. While en route, we noticed the husband's arm had come loose, so I went back to restrap it. As I was doing that, the wife's arm suddenly fell out as well, and her hand fell into her husband's. My boss was watching in the rearview mirror and helped clear the way as I ran back into the front. It spooked both of us. Apparently, the couple in their mid-30s had just found out he was cancer-free after his last treatment. I guess they are together forever. That's pretty cool. Otherworldly screams at the ER. I've had fellow coworkers swear that strange things have occurred in the ER. Two people that I work with were charting at the nurse's station when they both heard a scream, followed by incoherent words from one of our open bays. There were 3 patients in the room and they denied screaming or hearing anything. I've also had fellow coworkers talk about hearing a strange voice, especially after really bad codes. And one person states she felt someone grabbing her shoulder after the doc pronounced a trauma code. These are all respectable people, and I do not think they would lie. The Haunted Ambulance Company. This is a true story about an ongoing haunting that is occurring in Richmond, Virginia at a local ambulance company located just off Broad Street near the Willow Lawn Shopping Center. My 24-year-old son-in-law has been working at this company as an emergency medical technician for approximately a year now, and he comes home weekly with new haunting stories. The small brick building was once a warehouse of some type, and during a fire many years ago, several people were trapped inside and died. They were Hispanic migrant workers who apparently slept in the warehouse. It is now used as an ambulance company, and during the 24-hour shifts, EMT people are required to spend the night in the building. There's also a dispatcher who's always on duty even during the night hours. When my son-in-law first went to work there, he wondered why the sleeping cots were set up in the smaller room rather than the larger bunk room. He He was told that the larger room was haunted, and if people tried to sleep there, they'd feel cold hands on them in the night. He didn't know whether to believe this or not, but he did notice that whenever he worked a 24-hour shift and slept there, he had very bad nightmares, and he'd wake up to a cold, tingling feeling running up and down his spine. They think there are at least 2 ghosts in the building. The first is an aggressive one who bangs the chain on the bay door, walks around the bay area, slams doors, and puts his cold hands on people. The other is a woman who's also been seen in the office area. She was sighted recently when 2 ambulance workers walked by the office window and saw a short, dark-haired woman in the office. Not recognizing her, they went back to find out who she was, but there was no one there. And then finally we have 666. We responded to a sick call at about 4 a.m. Dispatch said he was a hospice patient with a history of cancer who had not eaten for a couple of days and had pulled out his medication port. We get there, and it's this poor guy in his early 40s who's bald from chemo and sitting on his brother's couch. His skin was blotchy, pale, and purple, and he was hyperventilating and diaphoretic. His sister-in-law said he had been pacing from the bed to the couch all night, clearly agitated. We went out to get the stretcher, and when we came back in, he'd crapped himself. He just kept saying, "Oh, no, oh," and looking around the room, flinching every now and then like he was waving away flies. We got him to sit on the stretcher, and he said, "No, not now." We assured him and rolled him out. The medic I was with asked me to get DNR papers. I walked up to his brother and sister-in-law, got the papers, and returned just in time to see him cry a couple of big tears, sob a little, and then crumple. I had to tell his brother he had passed away. Not easy to see a man drop to his knees in a driveway and wail. Then I got in and prepared to drive to the ER. As I wondered if the man would go to heaven, I got a bad feeling, like darkness was creeping all around us. I happened to look down at the voltmeter, and I saw the number 666 flashing. This panel normally doesn't flash at all. It just reads voltage. It went 666, then 0.1, then 666, then 0.1, then 666, then 0.1. Then it went back up to 1200 or so and stayed that way. The uneasy feeling went away, but I still prayed the whole way to the hospital. I felt sick as hell all that day and had a violent vomiting spell later on. Poor guy, I hope he's okay now. I don't know, sounds like somebody wasn't going maybe to the pearly gates when they were going to pass away. Hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Want to thank you so much for listening. You take care now. Bye-bye.